Better marketing, better leads. Drive more qualified leads and get more sales from the first click to the final close with a winning digital marketing strategy from dealer.com.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Monday, November 4th, 2025. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, Google's self-driving taxi service Waymo is coming to Detroit. How to navigate AI at the dealership, and more Americans are falling behind on car payments, but lenders say the overall outlook for auto finance remains strong. Plus, F&I Sentinel's Stephen McDaniel talks to our own John Hutter at the Auto Finance Summit in Las Vegas on how lenders and dealers are solving F&I data challenges by validating products earlier in the sales process.
And so what the challenges we've seen is a lender knowing whose product they financed.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. Waymo, Google's self-driving taxi company, is expanding its ride-hailing service to Detroit, its sixth U.S. market. The rollout will start with human drivers before transitioning to fully autonomous rides. Waymo has tested vehicles in Michigan's snow and ice and will deploy all-electric Jaguar I-Pace and Zeekr RT models equipped with its latest Waymo driver system. The move marks another step in the company's broader expansion and underscores Detroit's growing role in next-generation mobility as it rebuilds its economy around technology and innovation. In a new automotive news column, staff reporter Mark Homer reflects on the rise of artificial intelligence and what it could mean for retail automotive jobs. As AI takes on more tasks, from answering calls to managing customer outreach, experts say some back-office jobs could disappear within a few years. But industry leaders say the key is to adapt, not resist. Cox Automotive's Marianne Johnson puts it plainly: your job might not be replaced by AI, but it could be replaced by someone using it. The message for everyone in the business: learn the tech, lean in, and stay ahead. And finally, despite a rise in auto loan delinquencies, experts say the U.S. auto finance market remains resilient. About 5% of borrowers were at least 90 days late on car payments in the second quarter. Rising prices and higher interest rates are straining some budgets, especially among some prime borrowers, yet most consumers are keeping up. And even amid affordability concerns, new research shows middle-income Americans are feeling more financially confident, with many still planning to buy a vehicle in the next year. And those are today's headlines. You can find more details on all those stories at autonews.com. Now joining me to talk more about the Trump administration's expansion of parts subject to auto tariffs and what it means for automakers and suppliers is John Irwin, who covers suppliers and supply chain for us at Automotive News. John, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Thanks for having me back.
All right, John. So what are some of the main details of the expanded auto parts list?
Yeah, this stems from the medium and heavy duty executive order, tariffs on medium and heavy duty trucks that Trump signed a few weeks back. And basically, when you dig through it, there's kind of a piece in that order that kind of went a little under the radar compared to maybe some of the other news items in there about the new tariffs on trucks and relief that automakers were getting. And that basically is this expansion of parts that are subject to the auto tariffs. And this extends to, light duty vehicles, not just medium and heavy duty trucks. On the one hand, there are now, more parts that are on that list. This includes, some touchscreen displays and speakers, more engine components and that sort of thing. That's courtesy of S&P Global and analysis that they did. But I guess maybe even more potentially a bigger deal beyond that is a section in this executive order that basically allows companies, when they're importing a part, to basically certify that that part is subject to the auto tariff, even if it's not explicitly on the list of parts that are subject to the auto tariff. This is something that I think a lot of automakers and suppliers have been asking for a while. There are a lot of parts that, are used in vehicle assembly or even for repairs that aren't on that list. And because they're not subject to the auto tariffs, that maybe they would instead be subject to 50% steel and aluminum tariffs or reciprocal tariffs on different trading partners, which could range anywhere from 10% to 50%. So if you're on that higher end and that part is subject to, particularly high tariff, whether it's from steel and aluminum or those reciprocal tariffs, because it's not on the auto parts tariff list, you might be paying more than you would have had it been on there. Plus, when you look back at the relief that the Trump administration's extended to automakers, for the next several years, for 3.75% of the value of the MSRP of the vehicles that they make in the U.S., that reimbursement that they're getting is only supposed to cover auto parts tariff costs. So if you're bringing in a part, but it's technically not under the auto parts tariff, maybe at that point, you're technically not allowed to use that relief as it relates to any tariff costs for that part. But now you're able to claim it as part of the auto parts tariff. The Customs and Border Protection recently put out a few days ago some guidance on how automakers and any importer of these parts can go about doing that. It's similar to how they would do it for a part that is on the auto parts tariff list. But yeah, it's a pretty significant change, and it could have some pretty big ramifications for automakers and suppliers.
So, John, are automakers now slightly kind of sighing in relief, and how are they reacting?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, like I said earlier, I think a lot of automakers and suppliers had sort of been pushing for this. There was a little bit of, I don't know if confusion is the right word, but there was kind of a lack of clarity on whether this was something that they would be able to do. But this executive order from a few weeks ago kind of makes it explicit that, yes, you are able to claim other parts as auto parts. And yeah, I think a lot of automakers kind of welcome that. It's sort of, again, a further extension of some of the auto tariff relief that, they've been pushing for the past several months. We're still talking about tariffs that are, costs that are pretty high here, but maybe the bill isn't quite as large as companies were expecting several months ago, before we had, the extension of tariff relief, before some of the deals with the EU, Japan that lowered the auto tariff rates on imports from those countries to 15% from 25%. So I think there's at least a little bit of a sigh of relief from automakers that, okay, maybe the bill for tariffs isn't going to be quite as high as we were expecting. This is another form of relief, I guess, to a degree for automakers and suppliers looking to maybe cut back on some of the costs that they're having to pay because of all these new tariffs.
Perfect. Good stuff. John Irwin covers suppliers and supply chains for us at Automotive News. John, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, inconsistent dealer data is creating headaches for lenders and product providers. Stephen McDaniel from F&I Sentinel breaks down how combining origination and cancellation services can streamline F&I processes. That's next on Daily Drive.
Better solutions, better outcomes. As the premier digital marketing agency, OnlyDealer.com delivers connected solutions backed by Cox Automotive, helping you drive qualified leads and close deals faster. Better websites, better engagement. Our intuitive, data-driven websites personalize the shopping experience before the deal begins, using insights only Cox Automotive can provide. Better digital retailing, better deals. Activate across Dealer.com, AutoTrader, and KBB.com to create a seamless, personalized journey. Kelley Blue Book My Wallet lets shoppers enter budget info and see personalized payments. With Accelerate My Deal, that data flows into the retailing experience so buyers complete more steps online. Better personalization, better advertising. Our advertising solutions use real-time buying signals to deliver personalized experiences, boosting engagement with 2.9 times more VDP views, 2 times more site visits, and 2.4 times more leads. Stand out from your competition with a custom-built digital marketing strategy, better search visibility, and local reach. Dealer.com by Cox Automotive. Drive more leads, close deals faster.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. F&I product management is evolving as lenders and dealers tackle data challenges across origination and servicing. Inconsistent dealer-entered data often blocks accurate lien holder notifications and complicates validation. By moving checks to the point of sale, lenders, dealers, and product providers can streamline processes and reduce friction. Stephen McDaniel is CEO of F&I Sentinel. He spoke with our own John Hutter at the Auto Finance Summit in Las Vegas about how combining originations with cancellation servicing has helped lenders ensure products deliver real consumer value.
It's been a while since we talked. Just talk about some of the, initiatives you guys are at with F&I. I think we talked, I think you had just started to launch, or you bought perhaps the
Express
the refund.
recovery from Cox Auto.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, last time we talked, we probably talked about how the company really started on the origination side of the house for the lenders. And then we quickly saw a need to assist on the cancellation side.
Yeah.
And so that was the reason we made the decision to acquire Express Recoveries from Cox. It was just an opportunity for us, and we felt like we had a better mousetrap if we combined the two, with originations with the servicing side. And it's turned out to, I think, have been a pretty good gamble by us. When it comes to the cancellation side for lenders, solving that problem, we think it's really been done almost incorrectly. We think if you know kind of what came in the portfolio, the ability to service it as it's leaving the portfolio makes things a heck of a lot easier. And so combining those two solutions has really been a game changer for a lot of the lenders we work for. And it's resonated for those that we don't.
Yeah.
We just came from a session where we talked about how the challenges at servicing can really be solved at origination. So getting those two units within a lender together to talk about the problem, it's really been eye-opening for the lenders.
That's other aspects of the servicing besides just the cancellation issue on the products, or?
Certainly there's some of them. So the lenders also want to know if the products are performing for the consumers at the end of the day, right? So there's a reputational aspect to it, especially with like a gap waiver that becomes the lender's product.
Yeah.
So knowing that product is going to provide value, you saw California pass the CARS Act recently, the California CARS Act. And so they're drilling down, at least in the state of California, as to whether or not the products provide value.
Interesting.
So a lot of what we do on the origination side is to make sure that they are providing value. And so when you talk about servicing, it's not only the refunds, but is the product performing for the consumer?
That's interesting. Do the lenders get claims data on, or something like that? Or how do you track that?
So really what we do is at the origination side, we do what we call credentialing. So we look at the coverage within the product. We will compare it to the lender's minimum requirements to make sure that it's going to provide at least a certain amount of value. Also kind of take a look at what is a traditional OEM base warranty going to provide, and what is the overlap in coverage and other additional benefits being offered. One of the things that we've looked at a lot is prepaid maintenance. A lot of OEMs are offering more and more prepaid maintenance with the purchase of a new vehicle.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that there's additional benefits being provided through maintenance agreements that are also upsells or purchases.
Are you finding any, any issues that dealers or lenders need to watch out for on prepaid maintenance plans, or?
It's more about the data challenges right now. So what we have found is that we look at three stakeholders. We might have talked about this last time we talked. So we've got dealers, product companies, and lenders,
right, with
consumers at the middle of that triangle, if you will. And so what the challenges we've seen is a lender knowing whose product they financed. Because a lot of the data that gets put on the finance agreement is coming from the DMS. And in that case, many times that's a free form field that dealers are populating. And so we have multiple product companies with 600 different instances of what gets printed on the finance contract.
Oh, you're kidding. Like a single company or whatever. Yeah.
A single company. I'll pick on one.
Yeah, okay.
Great company, but JM&A, for example.
Yeah.
Dealers will enter. I'm not kidding. We have 666 different JM ampersand A, JM spell out and, or Fidelity Warranty Services. Same with like companies like Protective, US Warranty. So a lot of that challenge for lenders is to know whose product did we finance. So if there is an issue, how do we call them? So we try to help solve for that. We're doing some integrations with some of the platforms now that will help pass the correct data to really kind of dealer proof it, to make it easier for the dealers, so they don't have to make sure they're looking at, okay, in the state of Alabama, it's company A, but in the state of Oklahoma, it's company B, because those F&I products, the payee will change depending on the state. So a lot of that is data that the lenders have never had visibility into.
It's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. So you guys are working like with just the DMSs where it'll kind of, auto-correct it or suggest like, okay, do you mean that, kind of like what it'll do with like an address on an autofill form? Did you mean this, or,
Yeah, so primarily focused on econ because that's kind of where everybody wants to go. And so when we get called to ask whose company is this product being sold, and so we will pass the data back, which will then transfer into the loan origination system, which will hopefully handshake with the servicing platform for the lender.
Interesting.
Which streamlines it for everybody. I mean, one of the challenges that we've also seen for the product industry is that many times they won't have the correct lien holder listed on their F&I product form. So it kind of goes both ways. Same thing. A lot of that is free-form fields that are entered by the dealers.
Sure.
So, you'll see Hyundai Capital entered 5 different ways.
Yeah.
And so knowing who that lien holder is by region, by state, it's very important for the product companies as well. When there's a cancellation, they need to be able to notify the lien holder, hey, that product is no longer on that loan.
Yeah.
And so tying all those parties together and the disparate data, that's really kind of what our goal is for all of those individuals that are involved in the transaction.
Kind of on the cancellation thing, are you seeing pretty good buy-in from the product providers on alerting the lender or?
Yeah, so I think what we have heard, and again, it's the data challenge, is we've heard from product companies, hey, we'd love to notify the lien holder. We have concerns that we don't know who the correct lien holder is. And when we notify a lien holder, and if it's the wrong lien holder, we're sending PII to a lender that may not hold the contract.
Right.
So as long as we can make sure that they know that they're sending it to the correct lender, I think that's what they're looking to do. Because I think all the parties in the transaction want it to go seamlessly.
Sure.
But when you don't have the accurate data, that makes it difficult.
Like you said, this is something you guys have been working on. Do you have a kind of a sense of when it goes to market, so to speak, or is it something like, is this like a 2026 thing? You guys will have it kind of standardized, or?
For our lenders that we do the originations work for today, they get standardized data, how they ingest it. What we're trying to do, most of our lenders that we work for on the origination side, they're doing it at the time of funding.
Sure.
The problem with that is the dealer's already sent the package to the lender. And now if they're validating at that time, at the time of funding, if there's an issue, they're sending it back to the dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Dealer's got to bring the consumer back in. It creates friction. So what we are trying to do is push that validation check further left in the workflow, we call it. So we're shifting it left to where it's being done at the point of sale.
Okay.
So if that's the case, now it all ties together.
Is this like at the credit application? You said it, okay, versus the funding.
Correct. So if it's done at funding, it's being done through the loan origination system, which we have integrations with some of the loan origination providers. We're moving it back to when the consumer's in the dealership. So if there is an issue, the dealer is able to correct it right then and there versus having it being done at the time of funding. And I would say from the partners that we're working with, we're hoping that we're looking worst case scenario midpoint of 2026, where it's all integrated all the way back. I mean, we're currently doing it for 7 of the top 10 lenders today.
Okay.
But it's being done at the time of funding.
Okay.
All of us in the industry want to push it further to the left.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And I guess, is that doable from a dealer perspective? I mean, they should be able to handle that, or is it something where they,
Yeah, we think so.
Okay.
So today dealers have the ability to pick what form they're sending.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is they don't know which is the correct form to send depending on the lender.
Right.
Some lenders have different requirements for different product types. And so sometimes the dealers are guessing. Our goal is to kind of make it a no-brainer.
Sure.
So we know we're sending this to lender A. These are the products that lender A accepts for funding.
Yeah.
So if it's done there in the F&I office, it kind of dealer proofs it, if you will.
Yeah.
So all they want to do is sell a VSC. We just want to make sure they're selling the right VSC for that particular lender.
Where does that, just because, again, I'm not in the trenches working on this, where do they get the, notification, or that, this is the one? Is that something out of like a dealer track or a Route 1? Is it through their F&I menu system, or the DMS? Where do they,
So preferably it'd be done in like a dealer track or a Route 1, where they're kind of putting the deal together. I mean, that's the preference for most folks that we talk to, is we do it there.
Sure.
That would be the big goal. And then that way the data validation can all happen at the time. I mean, we see a lot of mismatches too between the finance contract and the actual F&I product form. So where the term might be listed incorrectly on one or the other, and we want to make sure they're consistent.
Stephen McDaniel is CEO of F&I Sentinel. He spoke with our own John Hutter at the Auto Finance Summit in Las Vegas. That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Tierra Riddick, John Irwin, and Mark Homer for their help on today's podcast. You can get the latest news on auto finance and U.S. consumer trends, how to navigate AI at the dealership, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back tomorrow to learn more about Slate Auto and their plans for repair shops as it relates to EVs.
You know, Slate Auto does have backing from, Jeff Bezos and a bunch of rich people, but they are trying to make a, $25,000, $26,000, $27,000 car.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.